Welcome everybody to our second official stream. First one that's really coming together for us here. We are streaming round 2 of the King on the East Coast. We have today for you our second official stream. We have ORJ Bill today playing off against Spartan. No, sorry, not Spartan. We have ORJ Bill playing off against Griffyn in Honed and Ready. They're just getting their list set up here, ready for deployment.
Yeah, I like your thought on for second official stream. You could say second official, first successful.
Yes, very much so. First successful. Our last stream we had some technical difficulties, but we are up and ready to go now. I see Carlos here in chat with us. And also Daniel, who is in this tournament as well. He is Scalaptra, playing Baratheons. So welcome both of you guys, and I hope you enjoy the stream. You guys are just getting ready here to deploy.
Always like to see another Baratheon player coming out to tournaments and watching streams. Man after my own heart.
So here we have the roll off. They're rolling off for their terrain placements right now. It looks like Griffyn has won this. So we're just gonna go over the lists here while we're waiting on them to deploy. We have over here ORJ Bill, who is playing Targaryens. It looks like he brought a Queen of Marine list. For NCUs, he brought the Queen of Marine, Illyrio, and Tychonosaurus. And then for his on-field units, we have Drogon, unit of Dothraki Outriders.
Gordy. Hey man, I need some bounce in my tray.
Okay, we can fix that up.
Righteous. Give me about a 10. I feel like a 10's a good one.
Okay. I'm not sure if I can actually do that.
You're the host, right?
Yes, I am the host. I'm not sure if I can do that as a spectator, though.
I can back out. Here, let me see if it'll let me not be me.
Here, one sec. If I...
Here, I'll go to change team.
Okay, I can go here. Game Master. Okay.
Is it letting you do?
Potentially. Physics. So what are you, looking to change?
The bounce in the tray.
Bounce
right
10?
click on the tray.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bounce 10.
Yeah, get a 10 in there. Let's
and apply. There we go. Good.
Goes. Oh yeah, look at it bounce. Thank you.
Griffyn, would you like the same for your tray?
Oh, he's not in here.
Okay.
I'll holler at him. Hang on.
All right. So just a quick technical change here for the game. ORJ likes a little extra bounce in his trays, a little more randomness to his dice rolling. So where were we? We were going over ORJ's list. So as we said, we have Queen of Marine, Illyrio, and Tychonosaurus as his NCUs. Then we have Drogon, a unit of Dothraki Outriders, a unit of Dothraki Screamers, Jorah the Explorer, and a unit of Unsullied Swordmasters. Quite a strong list we have here. Then we'll come over here to Griffyn. He is running, it looks like Commander... Oh, that's not the Commander, sorry. He is running his Awful list. So here we have Commander Awful with Bowen Marsh and Varys, as well as a unit of conscripts, 2 units of ranger trackers. Oh wait, here we have 4 units of ranger trackers, 2 with the watch marshal. This is quite an interesting list here. We have cavalry on cavalry. I don't think I've ever seen so many cavalry run in a Night's Watch list. Have you, Alex? Alright, Alex must be having a little bit of Technical difficulties there. Okay, yeah, yes, Carlo, we gotta have that bounce. So here we have the players are still setting down some terrain. We see 2 weirwood trees out. And we have a corpse pile as well as a palisade currently. And we're just going to double check. The middle objective is the targeted NCU loses all abilities. So we're just going to roll off here, I believe. Yes, Carlo, I agree. The Watch Marshal definitely has opened up quite a few new lists for the Night's Watch. I currently really enjoy the solo Watch Marshal. I find he gives a lot of maneuverability to the faction that they really need. It helps them get those hard-hitting units up the field quickly, and gives them those extra key activations so that they can actually spend points on hard-hitting units. I haven't really seen them run in the attachment version, so I'm just going to look over the card here now. It gives them the quick fire ability and unbreakable vow. So really these guys are only possible to be run in these ranger trackers here, as they're the only Night's Watch cavalry unit, so they're the only unit that can actually take vows. And they're the only ranged cavalry unit that the Night's Watch have access to. That quick fire is definitely going to be really handy, letting them potentially get off 2 shots per activation. 1 from their free maneuver and 1 as their actual activation. We're seeing some units come down now. It's looking like ORJ has the first deployment. He picked his sides, so we're likely to see Griffyn here take the first turn, because he's going to want to keep the Queen of Marines cards out of her hand. He's not going to want to get her those counterplots early, and he's going to want to get some movement up the board to start claiming objectives. Sunday Slaughter saying, you played Rossi's Night Watch the other day. First time playing it solo Night Watch. Sorry, solo Watch Marshal. It died to Paid Mutiny round 1. Yeah, if you're lucky with those rolls, Paid Mutiny is a fantastic card. I played Lancers here and there. I'm back and forth, usually between Lancers and Starks, but those free kills with Paid Mutiny and things like killing the Mountain That Rides with a panic test are really, they don't happen statistically all that often, but they are so satisfying when you can pull them off.
Gordy, can you hear me now?
Yes, okay, Alex is back. We were having some technical difficulties with his mic, but we are good to go here again.
I'm eating the mic now, so hopefully I'll be able to continue talking.
Alright, well, we're still just mid-deployment. Yeah, two very interesting lists coming up here.
Yeah, what I'm going to be really interested to see, Gordy, throughout the game is how the just extreme maneuverability of the Night's Watch can handle the dragon. Like, I feel like this is a worst case scenario for a dragon matchup, just the amount of range and the amount of movement opposing the dragon.
I really do agree. And the ability for those ranger trackers, I don't know if you heard me earlier saying, with the Watch Marshal's order, able to... Oh, I just realized I am still Game Master. We better switch that so I can't see any cards. There we go. The Watch Marshal's order to allow them to get their free shot on a maneuver. That will potentially be getting them double shots at that dragon with a free maneuver in there.
Yeah, certainly some new tech coming out, so I'm gonna, it's gonna be exciting to watch this play out.
Yes. Okay, so here we have first coming down. Oh, maybe not. We have a horn that wakes the sleeper coming down at the start of Griffyn's turn. We're going to be drawing some free tactics cards, and then we're seeing Bowen come out too. I am thinking likely we're going to see Bowen take the letters, and he's going to start drawing all those cards really quickly.
I feel like that's a pretty standard game plan at this point. Maneuver wouldn't be a bad choice either.
Alright, we are seeing the maneuver come out. So we're going to take Bowen's ability first to take 2 cards and put 1 back to the bottom of his deck. It is 2, yep. So that way he's still getting the card draw that he wants while being able to get his units up the field. It is a pretty fair advantage. We also know that Targaryens work very well off that maneuver zone, all their cards. So they're going to want to hold that once they get into the thick of it.
Yeah, I think as well you want to be considering what can you deny on the opponent's side, right? So you have the obvious response coming out from ORG, picking up the tactics, drawing some cards, laying down a token. Pretty common things to be seen in round 1. Maneuver taken, responding with a tactics being taken.
Yeah, I agree. This card draw for both factions is going to be very powerful. I don't know really who wants their cards more, whether it's the Queen of Marine or Awful, but both players are going to want to be going through their deck very quickly here. So obviously we see a weakened token come down on the Ranger trackers with an attached Watch Marshal. And we see Awful activate. And I believe he is using his ability here to search his tactics deck for a Commander Tactics card. So we are getting all of the Tactics card draw right at the beginning here now.
Yeah, I think that plays into why the maneuver was taken first. The Night's Watch player simply does not need the natural card draw from the tactics zone nearly as much.
I agree. So here we have the rest of the tactics board filled up, and we're going to get into some on-table activations.
Some real speed there with the last activations on the NCU side.
Yeah, just blocking that attack zone, I believe, so that if it comes to it, there will be no shots from the Outriders. Whether that would have happened, it's hard to say, but we are definitely likely to see these guys get pretty close to each other with how much maneuverability they do have.
I just have to note at this point, I think I'm only just now taking stock of the fact that there's only one cavalry-like movement unit on the board on either side.
Yes, we have 1 conscript units for the Night's Watch and 1 unit of Unsullied Swordsmen for the Targaryens. Everything else will be getting that free maneuver before their actual activation.
So the all-important, where can the dragon hit me? How hard is it going to hurt? Some measurements coming out.
Yes. Now those dragons, they will be putting some very big damage down here if they can get into these ranger trackers. The automatic wounds isn't as important against them where they only have a 5+ save, but being able to put down that panic token with Drogon and also the Vicious taking their morale from a 6 to an 8 is really going to put some hurt onto these Ranger trackers.
So we're seeing some careful positioning here. The tracker's just in range of that palisade, so they can destroy it should the need arise in the future turn.
And just trying to keep outside of range for any sort of dragon shenanigans that could happen.
For all our listeners, I believe the dragons ignore palisades, correct?
Yes, they do ignore the restrictions for hindering, impassable, and dangerous, I believe. They ignore terrain and units. Sorry, they don't specify keywords, just all terrain and units during their movement. Now, they're not able to land on palisades, and if they were to land on a piece of stakes, they would be taking that dangerous keyword, but they are able to pass over top of them as if they were not there.
Nasty.
Alright, so it looks like we are on to RJ Bill's activation. We'll see what he decides to put up here on the board as his first actual table activation. I really would not be surprised to just see Jorah the Explorer there be activated to burn it, to force Griffyn into activating another table unit. And good morning, Wargames Indonesia. It is actually almost 10 o'clock in the evening here for us streaming, but on the other side of the world for you, it most definitely would be morning.
I feel like there's a joke about it's a 5 o'clock somewhere, but I guess in this case, I'm past the 5 o'clock.
Yes, it is. Swing back over here to ORJ's side of the table. He is deciding what to do, and we're going to see a Jorah activation.
I think it's pretty natural to assume that the first turn is just going to be super cagey. The amount of movement on both sides, both players have to be careful right out the gates where they're putting units, because you're in threat range starting round 2, which is not particularly common given the short deployment zones.
No. Generally, in a short deployment zone like this, we wouldn't be seeing charges able until late activations round 2, maybe early activations round 3. But with the massive amounts of maneuverability of both these lists, we can see some combat starting rather soon. Alright, so we can actually see Jorah the Explorer coming up here, looking as though he might go for that objective. Now that's very dangerous here for Honed and Ready, for those of you who are not familiar with the game mode. Any unit that scores points off one of the 4 flank objectives near the castle walls, when they score those points, they will be taking D3 plus 2 automatic hits. So, on a unit like Jorah with only a 4-up armor save and 2 wounds, even scoring 1 point off those objectives could kill him, putting the Night's Watch Griffyn here in an advantage both activation and giving him that extra point.
Always a risk when you run, good old Exploradora there, but...
Yes, and Wargames Indonesia is saying it is 8:47 there where he is, so not quite a full 12 hours ahead of us, only 11, so, you know. So we see some more movement here from Griffyn, pulling another unit of Ranger trackers in to threaten the center of the board. And just a quick movement, and back to ORJ, who looks like he is trying to figure out where he wants to put these Unsullied Swordsmen. Now, ORJ is going to have first activation next round. So this is putting him in a potential charge range of both of these trackers as his first activation.
Yeah, it definitely leaves the door open to some pretty aggressive first activation round 2. So we'll definitely see how this plays out. But yeah, an aggressive move. Not I certainly like it, but an aggressive move on behalf of the Targaryens.
Yes, and we see at the beginning of Griffyn's turn, the Ranger trackers in the center there used their order to make the Unsullied vulnerable. So we're getting out these tokens early. Now, I don't know if ORJ, he's pretty new to the faction. He might not remember that Unsullied actually cannot take condition tokens. But we'll see if he reminds himself of that before they get too far along. We really don't want to step in. This is their game. They need to be able to call the shots. But hopefully he realizes that before it does too much to him.
Yeah, it's one of those really unfortunate scenarios where, hopefully he comes back, watches the stream, if it does end up staying on the entire time, and he can kind of learn from that. But yeah, we must carry on.
We must carry on. So Carlo asking if Warriors Indonesia is Van Van, who of course we all know is Nav Nav. The very, very infamous Lannister player Nav Nav. Alright, next we have Drogon here activating. Trying to get in and behind this palisade. These dragons can do some serious damage behind a palisade where they're able to easily jump out and around and either charge or make ranged attacks without the fear of being charged back due to positioning. If you can get your trays angled just right, nothing will be able to actually make a legal charge into you. It's a very, very tricky and very precise maneuver that these dragons can do, and it really shows how powerful they can be in the hands of a skilled player.
Yeah, it's helpful to remind everyone that those trackers are in fact within 1 inch of that palisade. So I think anticipating that some shenanigans around alignments and impossible charges was in mind when that 1 inch was maintained with the trackers between it and the palisade.
Yes, I'm thinking it must have been. You see a measurement coming out here. I'm not fully sure. It's measuring there. An odd angle. Potentially something for a next turn charge. To see around that corner. I don't believe that he's, unless he's trying to check line of sight with the palisade. That would be the only thing I would guess. Measuring from corner to corner to make sure that he does have line of sight without crossing that palisade, although he's not in the front arc. So even if he does have line of sight, he would not be a legal target of a shot without first shifting.
How does line of sight work? Does it is it just in your front arc, or can I line of sight from, like the edge to this?
Yeah, really not sure what they're Well, whatever. I'm sure there's a rhyme to the reason. You know, they're measuring
I
out.
think
It looks like they don't have line of sight to me, but
Yes. So, Griffin, for your checking line of sight, it is you have to be your opponent has to be in your front arc, and you have to be able to draw a straight line without going over another either passable terrain or tray to the defending target. And ranges are measured from the center arrow.
You.
Alright, that was just a quick rules clarification there for Griffin. He was trying to check for line of sight on that dragon, but was unsure if he needed to be his front arc facing the defending tray. So we have his activation coming up here for the conscripts. Just pulling them forward. I don't know if that was potentially for an attack or if he wanted to use their order to put a vulnerable token out on Drogon. Okay, so we see back to RJ Bill here doing some accurate measurements to see exactly where his screamers can get to make sure that he can actually clear the base of these Unsullied. She's also checking for ranges for potential shots for next round.
really showcasing the fact that we have almost an entirely cavalry on cavalry battle going on.
It is a staggering amount of maneuverability between these two factions right now.
Horse meta, right? That's the new meta, I think.
Yes, I believe the horse meta is alive and real. I'm just waiting for my Brendan Outrider to become a legal tournament option so I can run Stark's horses on horses.
Yeah, Meten, I see you in chat here. That is a vulnerable on the Unsullied. We suspect that the player is just unaware of the rule. He is relatively new, and unfortunately, we're not getting involved in games, so we've got to let it play. But yeah, there's no real reason that the token should be there.
We're hoping that ORJ does realize his mistake. He's been playing. He's almost been a pure neutral player, as far as I know, since the game was released. He's a very, very strong neutral player. He's only recently jumped on to the Targaryens to switch things up. So hopefully he'll realize his mistake here before it causes any actual issues for him. So now we see the left Ranger Trackers using their ability as well, their order, to put out a vulnerable on the Outriders. We see.
We got a C-Law on the Night's Watch team going here, getting some hype up.
And yes, Sunday Slaughter, ORJ is quite an experienced player. I'm just assuming that it's because a new faction, these little rules are sometimes easily missed. That something that you think is pretty common, just you overlook because it's something you're not used to playing with every day. So we see the weakened Ranger Trackers here pushing quite far up on this right flank. Okay, so ORJ's Screamers look like they're going to be turning to take the center of the board. Likely he is giving up that right flank, it would look like. C-Law, no, they are not Waldered. The Night's Watch player is not bringing Walder. We believe that ORJ has just simply forgotten the rule that they are not able to take condition tokens.
It's interesting though. You say that Gordy just giving up a flank. I almost think it's meaningless at this point with the amount of maneuvering that armies can do. We're watching the units turn on a dime.
Yes, I agree. It's not as simple as most infantry armies, where if you commit hard to a flank, it's hard to bring yourself back. With the maneuverability of both armies, they'll be able to swing flanks very quickly and very easily. We'll see if Griffyn here is going to be going to try to get in on the actual flank of some of these units to get some cheeky pot shots off.
Now here's where things are about to get interesting. Everybody's in range despite the short range deployment. So first activation is going to be very important. And yeah, see your shout out there, Nav. Nice to see you, my dude.
Alright, so correct me if I'm wrong, but Devastating Impact is a Drogo specific card, is it not? So we likely won't be seeing that come out for these Unsullied Swordmasters for a charge. Okay, so we have the first activation being the Queen of Marine to come down onto the sword zone. Griffyn has used one of his Varys tokens, it would look like, to block what I assume is the effect of the zone. Okay.
Have we seen the roll yet?
Yes, I believe that 3 was the roll. Potentially, I'm assuming the Queen of Marine was coming down to... I don't know if she was planning on actually taking that zone, or if he just wanted to block it so that the Night's Watch player would not be able to potentially get more than your average shots off with these Watch Marshal Ranger trackers. Mine is letting me know it is both a Drogon and Grey Worm card. The Devastating Impact, not in the standard Targaryen deck. So we see these Ranger trackers, they're doing their free maneuver forward, and they're spending their first order token on a free shot, and Mighty Enhancement will be played to give the shot both critical blow and a reroll, which is very strong on ranged attacks. So with 7 dice here, we see a total of 7 hits hitting on 3s. Here we have the defensive saves. I believe they are saving on 6s.
Oof.
Yes, a 6+ save. So that is a full 7 wounds. And he'll be taking a panic token, or sorry, a panic test at a +1 from the Weirwood tree, passing on a 5. And that is a very large failure for ORJ here. Luckily, he only rolled a 1 on his D3 to take 2 wounds. But it is looking like Griffyn is going to be firing with his actual activation. Oh no, he is going to be charging in.
Interesting.
The Watch Marshal, I do believe... Oh no, he does not give Nimble. I was thinking that he gave the Nimble keyword. But that is not from that attachment. So we're seeing the charge here to try to finish off these Outriders.
So 6s hitting on 4s. Oh,
And we
another awful card coming out.
to give Vicious. And if they fail their panic test, well, if they fail their panic test, they're dead at this point. So just vicious, essentially, for this attack. We'll see if it is needed. Hitting on 4s, we get 2, and we are seeing 4 out of 6 hits currently. That is exactly statistical.
Well, let's not forget there is a vulnerable token down.
There is. So this is likely a dead Outrider unit. And yes, that is the unit right there, and the first victory point going to Griffyn.
You know, we predicted that things were going to get bloody pretty fast going into round 2, and so far that's bearing out.
It is now. We're going to see these Ranger trackers pulling forward as far as possible. He's going to want to get out of a potential charge range of those Unsullied. This will also, I'm assuming hopefully for him, pull the dragon out of position, needing to potentially come back to deal with these Ranger trackers. Now, my only concern for him here is that if he leaves his rear open, that is going to be a panic test at a -4 from that dragon. Okay, no, it looks like he is going to be facing forward to keep that dragon in his front arc. Jorah will not be, but this will make it much less likely for him to take a major fail on a panic test here.
So it looks like we have another unit of trackers activating.
Now, I did not see an activation.
Nor did I, so perhaps just
This could be some
quick checks.
Yeah, some pre-measuring here by ORJ to make sure that these Ranger trackers will not be able to get into his dragon. Let's see. Doing some quick measurements here. I'm assuming this is for a maneuver. They do have short range on those bows, so potentially this is the check for the maneuver, the shift forward, and the shot onto the dragon to see if he is currently safe with that dragon where he is.
So I believe we are still on ORJ's activation, correct?
Yes. Yes, we are on ORJ's second activation currently. And it looks like we're going to see Tycho come out to take the maneuver zone. And we are seeing him. He's going to be maneuvering his Unsullied Swordsman. And the question is, will he be pulling them back to deal with these trackers, or is he going to push them forward? No, he is going to be pulling them back. He wants to get rid of those trackers who are in his flank. That is a very smart decision. The Screamers would have been able to get to them very easily with their free maneuver, and potentially a very strong flank charge.
So it looks like we're getting a Bowen activation in response, taking the tactic zone.
So Griffyn is going to be getting many more of his cards. We're going to see the 2 draw, and then the scry 2, as they say. Now ORJ is once again taking a token, a weakened token this time on the Unsullied Swordmasters. So he has yet to realize that they are unable to take condition tokens, sadly.
I'm almost hoping when they go to the attack step, which feels inevitable at this point, he'll read the card and see it.
Yes. Hopefully when that happens, we will just see that weakened token likely come down onto the Screamer unit, because it would be the next most likely to take it. But we are seeing a Jorah activation, it looks like, here by ORJ. Or are we just checking for his order? The order is very, very rare to actually happen. So no, we are seeing a Jorah activation. This must be just trying to come in, get a free cheeky charge off on a flank. I don't believe he's not going to be able to get into the rear of that unit. So we're going to see the move, and I believe likely a charge here into the flank, just for some cheeky damage. Only for, on his next activation, likely to see his order come off to make the unit both vulnerable and weakened. So here's a charge roll. We see a 4, so there will not be a disorder into the flank of these ranger trackers from Jorah. Okay. Here we are. The Jorah will be only attacking with 2 dice, hitting on 4s. Luckily for those rerolls.
I was going to say, am I the one rolling dice right now?
For a total of 2 hits. And I believe that is 2 wounds through because of the flank charge. So we will see the panic test come along here at a minus. Well, actually, it'll be at even because of this weirwood tree for a pass. So only a total of 2 wounds taken to those ranger trackers. And we're seeing a card come down for the Night's Watch, and it is the Watcher on the Wall, followed by a counterplot. So this counterplot will come off to block the Watcher on the Wall, getting the free maneuver or march activation. That would be very strong right now. That would be able to get one of these ranger units potentially a free attack, or getting closer for this unit over here to potentially get into a flank attack and charge range on his activation.
I do have to say, I'm enjoying the counterplots getting spread out across different armies now.
As a Lannister player, I am not, as it makes my faction feel less and less special every day. You know, everyone's getting new toys but us, it seems like. We did get the turncoat, which I am a fan of that unit. Well, I shouldn't say unit, that model. But, I guess everyone's so upset about the mountain that rides that we're not allowed to get anything new.
Well, I mean, the mountain that rides is a very nice, very nice unit.
I mean, realistically, we don't actually have him yet. But yeah, he is a very nice unit.
I mean, especially considering we have Explorador on the board right now.
Yes, I will agree with you on that one. Now, we see the Ranger trackers on the side here, pulling out their regular order to make these Screamers here vulnerable. And we're likely to see a maneuver forward. They're only moving 5 because of that corpse pile. And with the shift, now they'll only be shifting 1 inch because of that corpse pile, reducing their total movement by 1. They'll still be able to make it in.
Yeah, I think that sneaks up on me every time that shifts are also affected by the -1 movement.
Yes. So with range here being actually measured from the center, we're just double checking here. He sees the attack circle. He does get that free 1 inch shift. We're taking here because of the corpse pile right up to that line. And yes, we are in range, so I believe we're going to see the second order from the Watch Marshal come out here to get that free shot. And once again, we see a mighty enhancement for another critical blow and reroll of attack dice.
I gotta say, I'm really enjoying Awful's cards for such a potentially aggressive list from Night's Watch.
I agree. I I didn't know if these Ranger Trackers were going to be able to deal the damage they needed to, but with Awful's cards, they are really able to pump out that damage. With a simple 7 shots, we are up to 8 hits. Shooting at a unit with a 5+ armor save who is vulnerable.
Yeah, this is a pretty nasty combo.
We have taken 6 wounds currently. We're going to see if that vulnerable will be spent. Yes, it is, to reroll those 2.
Yielding another wound.
Yes, so a total of 7 taken. That'll take him down to just 1 rank. I believe we're checking here to see he is within range of the Weirwood, but not the corpse pile. So we'll be testing at a +1 to his morale. Ooh, very lucky. Not the corpse pile. For a 6 pass. And now that was the order from the Watch Marshal. So we're going to see, are we likely to see a charge, or potentially we're going to see another shot come off from the regular activation of these Ranger Trackers. I likely think that we're going to see another shot come out. The charge will be on 2d6, and rolling a 1 or 2 will cause a disorderly charge. So
I mean, the unit's also weakened and only hits on 4s in melee, right?
Yes, I believe they do. They still do get the 6 hits. It will be denying... Oh, and we are seeing the charge come out. It will be disorderly, so this is really going to hurt. I'm assuming this is solely to block the maneuver ability of those Screamers. So this will pin them in place unless he has a swift retreat here. Because with only 6 attacks and precision and oh, are we not seeing precision enhancement come down? I don't know what just happened there. No, yes, precision enhancement is not able to come down because of the disorderly charge. So we're just 6 dice hitting on 4s with the weaken token. And this is not looking good. For only 1 hit. Now, 1 hit technically is enough for him to take down this unit.
Yeah, failed armor into a crit fail, but we don't even need to worry about that because that 6 is keeping him in it.
That it is. Now, are we likely to see a swift retreat here? Let's see. No, it doesn't look like we're likely to see. Or, I believe we must be checking to see if that second unit of Ranger Trackers would be able to get into these Screamers. I'm thinking that because we don't see the card coming out right away, ORJ must not have a swift retreat here to play. It'd be very, very beneficial for him. So that way he'd have the ability to either get a flank off, if possible, or at least be able to swing around here and potentially claim this objective with the Screamers from their charge and shift. Or not charge, their alignment. So we're going to see the Screamers, it looks like, activate. Aligning 50% to the other side of the Ranger Trackers to keep them out of range of one of the other Ranger Tracker units of Griffyn.
Maybe deciding against it.
Oh, potentially. As RJ seems to have himself in quite a sticky situation here. I was not expecting such a fast and hard-hitting list out of the Night's Watch. These Watch Marshals really really showing how powerful they are even as an attachment.
I think also we have to give a bit of love to Awful. I think the maneuverability, the ability to hit where he wants, combined with the added offense of Awful's cards, is just really working in Griff's favor here.
I agree 100%. Those cards have come in very clutch for Griffyn. The critical blow on range attacks, and mostly, I would say, the ability to re-roll shots. Because that, I would have to say, is the biggest downfall of taking a range shot over charging, is the inability to be able to re-roll those misses. Yes, Carlo, I have to agree this is a very good and aggressive game. So at the start of ORJ's turn, we are seeing the Explora order come out to make these Ranger trackers over here on the left flank both vulnerable and weakened. And it looks like we're going to see the dragon come into play.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to hurt. Drogon puts on the pain regardless of the scenario, but with a vulnerable down as well. Well, I guess it's just automatic wounds, so it's almost irrelevant.
It is automatic wounds. The vulnerable will come in handy when and if we see these Unsullied charge into the flank. I'm assuming we are likely to see a charge here, so as not to... well, actually, with the Weirwood Tree there, Jorah will be passing morale on a 3+, so he can stay outside of range. This may be his plan here. We see the 2-inch shift, so yes, he is going to be taking the flame. It keeps him further away from the other Ranger trackers, and a 3+ morale test on Jorah is unlikely to give him the auto kill that it could. So for Drogon,
rolling a 2 on the wounds,
yeah, so we're
giving us 5 dead trackers, or 5 wounds, I should say.
Yeah, so they've already taken 2, bringing them down to only 5 remaining. And we will see the panic test here. We see that we've already placed, our ORG has already placed the panicked token on the unit, and they will be they'll be testing on an 8 from the Vicious and the Weirwood Tree being cancelled out by the flank charge, dealing 2 wounds. Now, I think we
Curious
would...
to see if the panic, yeah.
I agree, yes. The panic token is coming out. And we're seeing the fire that burns against the cold come down to cancel out that effect of that token. So only 2 wounds are taken by those Ranger trackers. And we see an order being toggled. That must just be a misclick on ORJ's part, because the dragons actually have no orders. I'm thinking that must have just been a coincidental click on the unit.
Happens to the best of us.
That it does. That's the one thing about TTS. I love how simplified Bartender has made everything for us. I'm semi-dreading the day of going back and needing to pick up my own cards and place physical tokens. But it is much easier bookkeeping when you have actual tokens, because it is less likely you are going to accidentally drop a token, as it is very simple to accidentally click tokens in this mod. I love the mod, Bartender. You've done a fantastic job. It's the small things between a table game and an actual online game that just little things, yeah.
Yeah, just mad props to Bartender and the whole team that worked on this. It's even the comparison of when COVID first started hitting us, and now it's just been amazing.
I have to fully agree. So we see Griffyn here deciding to activate, and I believe we're going to see Potentially, are we going to see a Daenerys card come down? I don't remember the name of it. I believe it's Promise of Fire, maybe? That lets him select 2 boards on the Tactics Zone and force a panic check. But we see Ranger Trackers activating instead. Moving forward.
Looks like a shift to me.
The shift of the 2, and these guys do not have the Watch Marshal. Now, I believe that measurement there was just to see if the currently engaged Ranger Trackers were in range of the Weirwood tree, and I believe they were not. So they will be testing on their panic test at a -1 if this attack is to go through.
Well, the shift did occur, so an attack roll does need to happen.
That is true. So we'll be seeing 7 dice hitting on 3s. Oh no, we are seeing... I don't know what we are seeing here.
They get disorderly charge, but did he end up moving 2 inches? Did he bring it back?
He must have brought it back there. He must not have actually shifted. Maybe that was just the continuation of his move. I don't know what that movement was there. So we're seeing 6 dice hitting on 4s with no rerolls and no tactics cards being able to be played for a total of 3 hits.
For all the statisticians out there, you know, things are nice and on curve at the moment.
That is exactly what I like to see in my dice, and you know it, Alex. And once again, we see exactly statistical. Oh, I don't know what I just clicked on there, but a 2 fail and 1 pass, and a passed panic test by ORJ Bill to keep his Screamers in the fight here. Now, we've yet to see his order be used, or his ability be used, but Tycho can still heal 5, and the wealth zone is still open, so those Screamers are far from out of the fight.
Can you think of a reason he may have wanted to charge as opposed to do a ranged attack there?
I'm guessing he was hoping that 6 dice hitting on 4s with rerolls, so that would be, well, 6 dice hitting on 4s with rerolls. I don't know if that is actually statistically likely to do more hits than 7 dice hitting on 3s. I believe it is likely to do more hits just because of the reroll, and may have also been worried about the panic test on his own Ranger Trackers, who would be testing at a -1 because of the corpse pile.
I suppose we don't know what cards he has as well, right? So Awful might be lending some support there.
That is very true. So we see RJ Bill was checking to see if this 3rd Ranger Tracker unit would be able to get into his Screamers before he activates. We are likely to see these Unsullied Sword Masters waiting to activate in case a charge needs to occur on a fuller unit of trackers who may or may not charge this Screamer unit here. Using a full unit of Unsullied to just clear off 3 wounds on a Ranger Tracker unit who is both vulnerable and weakened seems almost like a shame. And we are seeing an order token here come up from Varys. I think we are likely to see Tycho taking the money bags here to try to heal his Screamers back up. Here's the roll. And that is another block. Now the question is he going to block the ability? Because he can block the healing of the 5 instead of the... Okay, so he is going to block the crown. Very, very interesting. He must be more worried about failing a 7... No, it would be a 6+ morale. I believe he is within range of this weirwood tree. So more likely to worried about failing 6+ morale on those screamers than he is to having Griffyn heal these ranger trackers back up, clearing off that vulnerable token.
I suppose the argument could be made if ORJ's just, or sorry, if those trackers are dead regardless because the swordmasters are threatening them.
That is true. They're likely dead regardless. So I believe we're measuring here to see what a charge would be with a movement of 6 on these trackers. I believe that was a roughly 16-inch distance away. So I believe he's going to be declaring this charge before he takes his... No, we are going to take the free maneuver first. Okay. Now the most important thing here is that he does get his pivot, and he can charge through his own unit if that makes the charge closer. He does not have to avoid his own trays in this movement.
For those of you watching, we are not in fact playing Fire and Blood, although it may look like it is. We are playing Honed and Ready. It just, both players want to spill blood and let it flow, it seems.
As I said in the Discord earlier, this game will be full of both fire and blood, even though we are honed and ready. So we see a failed charge come through here, only moving up 8 inches, and it will be a panic test at a +1 for this unit. Now, looking at it just roughly here, it looks like this is leaving a front charge available for the Unsullied Swordmasters. Now that is a passed panic test on these ranger trackers for failing their charge. Going back to ORJ Bill.
So he's got 2 activations left, right? He's got the Screamers and he's got the Unsullied?
Yes, that is correct. He has the Unsullied and the Screamers left, where Griffyn has left the Conscripts, Othel, and Varys. So it's looking like the Screamers will be activating first. Oh, potentially not. I think that is what he was indicating there. Now, also for those of you wondering, this is still only turn 2. It has been a very aggressive and very bloody game right out the gate. And we're checking alignment here, so I believe ORJ is just wondering if he's going to be able to get his Unsullied into the front arc of that unit of trackers. No, we are going to be activating the Screamers first to attack the unit of Ranger Trackers with the Watch Marshal, looks like he is indicating.
Sensible decision.
Yes. So with 1 rank left, we will be seeing 5 attacks hitting on 3s. And here we go with the roll. Now that's an incredible roll for a full 5 out of 5 hits. Now sadly, the Screamers have no keywords. They really need their Co's to get them their Sundering or the Vulnerable token. But we will see 3 wounds come through. And I believe this will be a panic test at -1. I don't think that this is a... Oh, we are seeing the Mother of Dragons order come through to force that fail, rolling an additional d6 and taking the 2 lowest results. So that will be a failure of only taking 2 wounds, though.
Interesting.
And we are now seeing hit and run come out. Now this is what I was wondering. We're going to see here, these screamers will be able to get out of combat with both the units of trackers and also make both weakened. Because he does control the maneuver zone with Tycho. Oh, I'm sorry, my earlier statement of Tycho taking the crown was wrong. It was Illyrio. It's, I mean, looking at the two of them, they are somewhat similar just at a quick glance.
Similar poses.
Yes. So the Screamers are doing their free retreat, having a free roll of a 6 because he is controlling the maneuver zone. And Griffyn will be able to pivot both of his units of Ranger Trackers. However, where they were side by each, it will be very difficult for him to actually be able to pivot both of them if he would like to. Okay, so we see Oslo coming down, and Promise of Fire is now coming out. So he will obviously be targeting the money bags, which of course he's taking, and the panic test we will see, but I think it will likely to be coming down on this unit of Ranger Trackers with the solo Marshal, and I am thinking we are likely to see the second order token come to clear that unit out. No, I am 100% wrong here. It is on the other unit.
Certainly the move I thought was going to happen.
Yes. So this is a pass, I believe, a 7, even with the -1 from the corpse pile. So we're going to see the order token now used on the reroll. Odd choice. For a failure dealing 2 wounds.
Yep, just scratching my head a little bit. I thought he would have gone for that weakened unit with only the Marshal remaining, but
I agree with the weakened token, even though, sorry, with the panic token I should say, even with 3 wounds remaining, that is statistically likely to happen. And with the 3d6 picking the 2 lowest, rolling under a 5 should have been likely to occur. Alright. That does bring them down to only 1 rank, although Othel will be able to heal them back up for 3 wounds, mitigating all of the damage taken by that card.
Alright, the moment we've been waiting for. Where are these Unsullied going to hit? Many options.
Now, I am somewhat surprised. This right unit is actually within the front arc of the Unsullied. I'm surprised, unless he has an well, even with the overrun. So that is definitely in. And are we going to see a card we played? Yes, we're going to see Blood of the Dragon. So he automatically passes any panic tests and can never become panicked. Now, as we both know, maybe ORJ is seeing this now. He can not take condition tokens on his Unsullied unit. So we have 10 dice hitting on 2s. Wow, with the rerolls of those failures. We see a grand total of 9 hits with no precision.
Wow, that was unlikely to occur.
Very unlikely. So we do have 9 hits through on only a 6+ save. Really, this unit of trackers is highly unlikely to survive this with the vulnerable token on them. And we see we see 7 failures, killing the unit, and we see now his watch has ended coming down, and also an overrun. So we will see which unit Griffyn is deciding to remove the activation token from, as that will occur before overrun, as overrun takes place instead of the surge forth, which, as we know, is the last step to occur in combat.
Yeah, taking out your handy rulebook, you will notice that the Surge Forth does clearly say after all card and effects. All effects and cards, I should say.
So we have the +2 to the charge dice here, and with their 6-inch movement, this is likely to be a very short charge on this weakened unit of Ranger Trackers.
Ooh.
Were they within 9 is the question. We're taking the free pivot with Jorah there. And it must have been an automatic in. We just won't be seeing any rerolls or tactics cards coming down.
Not that we had any tactics cards to play anyways. He has nothing in his hand.
That is true. I'm wondering if playing that Blood of the Dragon was just to get it out of the way, rather than discarding it. We see him aligning 50% to the right on the flank of this unit of Ranger Trackers with the Marshal. For another...
Alright, let's see what some Unsullied can do.
Yes, we see another 10 dice hitting on 2s coming out here. For a total of 8 hits with 2 precisions. The weakened token that shouldn't have been on there is being spent to re-roll the successfuls.
I'm like secretly hoping every time those Unsullied get touched that he's going to notice.
I agree. But that is 7 hits coming through, one of which has precision. So 6 armor saves to make here on a 6+ because of the flank charge. Here this goes.
Oh my god!
Now that is a ridiculous roll there. That is 5 passes on a 6+ armor save to keep those Ranger Trackers in the game. We will be seeing a panic test at a total of -2, I believe. So that will be a failure, taking another 4 wounds. Wow.
I am almost stunned speechless. 5 out of 6 sixes when he needed 6s in the first place.
If he had failed one more save there, that would have been the unit completely destroyed.
Well, put another way though, Gordy, if he had not done the reroll, even with that good of a save, he still would have had another precision wound take place, and that unit would still be gone. So if the weakened hadn't been removed, this would be a dead unit.
That's true.
I'm sorry, if the weakened had not been placed, I should say.
Yes. Sadly, that was something not caught early enough by ORJ, and potentially still not caught yet. Okay, so we see the center unit here of, I should say the left unit now, of Ranger Trackers. is the one who is having their activation token removed from, I believe it was until my watch's end. I'm not overly familiar with Night's Watch cards, but they're the ones who have removed their activation token from that tactics card. And we see these conscripts marching forward to grab the center objective and turning off Tycho Notaurus. Ooh.
So it is important to note here that the removal of the activation token came from, and now his watch has ended. What's important to note here is the surge forth should have taken place after the activation token was removed. That would have been helpful information for ORJ in picking what unit to charge.
I agree. I'm wondering if they had discussed it, saying which unit was going to be, which unit was going to have the activation token, removed from them before he actually took the token away. And we see a precision enhancement coming out here for a total of 4 hits, 2 of which will have the precision rule, and the other 3 dealing hits at a -2 because of the flank attack and the -1 from precision enhancement.
Now, this will trigger a panic on that other unit of trackers, so this might come out to a wash in the end. We'll have to wait and see.
Yes. So they automatically passed their panic test because of Blood of the Dragon. So we'll see how his ranger trackers here, they are not doing the panic test. That is very surprising.
That is unfortunate because they would be at a -1 because of the corpse pile.
That it would be. Alright, so we see the end of the round there being scored up. Griffyn scoring 1 point for holding this center objective. Nobody on a flank objective, so nobody's taking the D3 plus 2 hits. And we're on to, finally, turn 3.
I mean, there's certainly less activations to worry about in this round.
Yes, there are. So it looks like we're seeing Bowen Marsh activating first and grabbing those swords. So we'll see his ability come forward first to grab 2 cards. This will put 4 cards into his hand, and he will only have a deck of 8 cards left, so he is really, really burning through those cards quickly, as Night's Watch players do.
Yep, they'd give any good Renly Baratheon player a run for their money, that's for sure.
I don't even know if I can go through cards that fast with Tyrion. It looks like we are seeing the front unit? Ah, so he is taking the panic test that was missed at the end of last round on a 7, which will just be a pass.
Good to see them catch that, though.
Yes. Okay. So, for this attack action, we're going to see this front unit of ranger trackers shooting into the Unsullied with their 7 dice hitting on 3s once again. And it looks like we are seeing another serrated enhancement this time for a vicious. Looks like we're going to have 5 hits come out here. This will be 5 plus armor saves. see how this goes.
Oh, I got some 6s in there. 2 fails.
Now, like we see, we're going to use the vulnerable token. And yes, although it should not have been there, it was spent. And the Unsullied are now down to a single rank, and they will be taking their panic test on a 7 to pass. Which they do pass whole-handedly. Although the Ranger trackers... Ooh, and we see a Targaryen supremacy come down, forcing a panic test back at those Ranger trackers at a solid -2. So I'm assuming
very nice.
This will be the unit that did the attack, which is a failure, and they will be taking a 3 wounds from their own attack. And now a panic test should be happening on the unit that was shot, or in combat with the unit that was shot. Now, they remembered last time, but they don't seem to be remembering quite yet about that panic test, which really, you'd think that ORJ would remember, where it could very likely, a failed panic test here would free his Targaryens up, and where they're passing on a 7, it's not an automatic pass.
No, certainly not. I mean, what you're sitting at like a 40% fail chance?
Yes. It looks like these Unsullied are activating.
Well, they didn't need to do much. 2 precisions will certainly kill the unit.
That it will. And I believe we're seeing, yes, another overrun come down here. So he'll get his pivot before a charge. And I believe we'll be charging into the flank. It's looking like it will be a flank charge on this center unit of Ranger trackers.
Getting good use of the overrun. It's a card that's easily manipulated into not being particularly useful, but these Unsullied have certainly gotten some legs with it.
That they have. He's going to come 50% onto the flank of this unit of Ranger trackers. Oh, are we seeing 100%? The 50% will get him closer to objectives, but will also put him onto that corpse pile if he is able to surge forth or maneuver away later.
Alright, so here comes the attack swing.
So we see a full 6 hits, so these will be 6+ saves coming through onto those Ranger trackers.
Let's see if we can get some repeated magic here.
Yes, that save is what Griffyn needs here once again. Now, as statistics would state, we only see the 1/6 dealing 5 wounds to these Ranger trackers now.
The math teacher in me is happy that we're back on curve here.
Yes, I have to agree with you on that one. Now we'll be seeing a panic test at a total of -2 coming through. No, it'll be only -1. I forgot about this weirwood tree here in the center. And either way, it does not matter as it is a pass. I will say it is sad that the panic test was forgotten on the original unit of Ranger trackers there, but c'est la vie. There's only so much you can do, and when so much is happening, and it's very, very easy to forget some rules.
Oh yeah, of course. Like you watch any streamed game, you know, we'll all be screaming at the, you know, at your computer screens, going, "Why didn't you do this?" But you know, it's so easy be caught in the moment. You have a line of play in your head, and you just, you know, forsake observing other more basic things. So
I agree. Sometimes you just forget that Stormcrow mercenaries can attack off the money bags.
don't remind me.
Alright, it looks like we are seeing this unit of Ranger Trackers activate. So they are putting out the vulnerable token once again. And the Sword in the Darkness is being played. I am assuming this is for the plus... It looks like it's for the +2 attack dice, as... Sadly, ORJ still forgets that his unit cannot take condition tokens. But we are getting three hits here. Oh. And we are seeing the fire that burns against the coal come out to cancel the weakened on his own unit.
Yeah, seeing that card advantage really coming into Griff's favor here.
Yes. Getting all those cards is very strong for the Night's Watch player. And it looks like we will have only one pass. Dealing 2 wounds back. Spending the vulnerable, which luckily does nothing. And putting out a panic test, which will be at -1. Oh, he's potentially in range of that weirwood tree. Let's see here. And it won't matter either way, because that is a pass. Okay. So we are back to ORJ's activation here.
Now we still got a lot of play here. You still got a dragon who's completely unharmed. We've got all 3 NCUs, not to mention Tycho.
That is true. Now Tycho is being muted currently from the center objective held by these conscripts.
Ah, yes, thank you, Gordy. Somebody's paying attention.
And we are seeing Unstoppable Advance being played on the dragon here. Looking at the distance, I'm thinking that we are going to see either an automatic charge into the flank of these Ranger Trackers, as it is unable to be disorderly, which would pin them into place. Let's see where we're going here. Now, he could be going for the ranged attack, but I don't believe that is the safer play here.
No, I mean I agree. I agree with your thought.
Yeah, and here we go.
Those screamers.
The charge is coming in. And not even just to charge or protect the screamers, it'll protect his swordmasters, as he can thus have that free maneuver. Either of those 2 units are not currently safe if these Ranger Trackers are let to have free reign. This is D3 coming down for a solid 6 wounds. That is big.
Now, he doesn't even need to crit fail this, simply failing with at least a 2.
Yes. So we see the pass.
Big
Hold on.
pass.
What are we failing on here? We have a 6+. Oh, we see a card coming down. Another fire that burns against the cold. To cancel out the panic token there. Now, I could have swore that he had already played 2 of those. Maybe my memory's misleading me. Maybe he's only played 1. But that's coming down to save his Ranger Trackers there, as they would have been passing on only 9. So that is a very, very big save there. We see Varys come down on the tactic zone to get some more cards in the Night's Watch hand, and another token coming out.
It is helpful. Gordy, I do believe he did play it twice already, but remember that some Night's Watch cards can induce you to return vows to your hand.
Right, that is true. I always forget about their ability to return cards back to their hand. So we see here, with that tactic zone, Griffyn has placed a panic token on the unit of Screamers. He must be planning to hit them with a crown here on his next activation, but they might already have done their damage. We're going to see what happens here. He's going to need to get into the front arc of these trackers to make the charge legal. You see him pivoting into front arc and moving forward.
Easily getting to the front arc. I gotta say, a lot of units have been pulled off now. I am really not sure which way this game is gonna go.
No, it is still very up in the air. And we see a 6 off on that charge. Coming in for a strong front charge here. Aligning 100%. I'm sure this is in case Griffyn is able to unactivate his other unit of ranger trackers. He's not going to want to see them have a chance of getting a charge or a shot off on these Screamers if possible. So you see only 3 hits currently, rerolling failures, thanks to the charge bonus, for a total of 6 hits in total.
This is what you're looking for. I mean, if don't even force it to the panic, really hoping they die on the armor saves.
Yeah, so we're going to see a 6 5-up saves coming through. Oh, we're seeing now that ORJ accidentally rolled 1 additional die. So he's going to take that down just to 5, and it looks like he's re-rolling everything. And with his re-roll from the charge, he still hits with 5 out of 5. So we see 5 5-up saves come through. Oh, ooh. Living with just that 1 wound remaining.
Those 6s have been clutch on those saves.
Yes, Sunday Slaughter, it is 5 dice on the last rank. They caught that at the last second there and did re-roll it. And that is a passed panic test by that Ranger Tracker unit. Griffyn is getting very lucky on having his unit stay alive with just 1 wound left. We see now coming down the Horn That Wakes the Sleeper. Oh, where is this going here? For more cards to be allowed to be drawn. He's replacing the vow that was on these Ranger Trackers here. I believe it was the Sword in the Darkness.
Now remember, this is what allows him to bring a vow back from his discard.
Yes.
A secondary effect.
So the Awful coming down on the crowns. Likely here to hit these Screamers for a panic test. Passing on a 7 with a panicked token on them. And it does not matter. Oh, yes, it does. That will leave him alive with 1 wound. We're likely to see the panic token spent here. Yes, to reroll that D3. Can ORJ be so lucky? Not quite.
Now, those trackers are still pinned thanks to Drogon.
Yes, they are. So that puts the score now up to 3-2 in favor of Griffyn, but ORJ is not out of it yet. He still has a dragon at full health, and if he can get those conscripts. Let's see, it is, well, if you can nudge those conscripts off that objective with something, then he can get Tycho back in the game to start healing up his Unsullied Swordmasters.
Let's not forget, Ilrio has not used his once per game effect. He can remove an activation token.
This is true, and there are still 2 zones open for ORJ to take to potentially clean up some activations here. We could see the dragon double activating, or even these Unsullied getting another 6 attacks off on the Ranger trackers. So we see Tycho activating, and we're going to be healing up these Unsullied, bringing them back to 2 ranks.
Nice defensive play there. You know, losing those Unsullied would be an awful way to try and close this game out.
I think that was more of an offensive move, because that'll put him up to 7 dice if he decides to use Tycho's ability now and make deactivate, I should say, these Unsullied.
I suppose. I think I just assumed the dragon would get Ilrio if that was the line of play, but
I think the dragon killing a unit with only 1 wound left is almost superfluous at this point, where he will be getting first activation next round, so he can easily take these swords as his first activation.
no, that's a good read. That's a good read, Gordy. I wasn't considering who was going first next round.
Now, it does note to say that there are still 2 order tokens for Varys left, probably being saved for Illyrio to come out. Alright, we see these Ranger trackers attacking in melee. They're going to pop a precision enhancement, but it is all for naught because all 3 attacks do miss, sadly hitting on 4s. Alright, it looks like we're seeing what I'm assuming is going to be Illyrio activating, and a Varys token coming down to block out the zone. Yes, and Illyrio just grabbing that open zone. These conscripts are activating now. Looks like they're just getting a refacing with their maneuver. Just moving up as far as they can in case they need to get into the fray. Potentially bog down a dragon, or if they have to come forward and deal with Jorah.
Now, we could easily see Explorer Dora here end up cleaning up that tracker unit. He only has to do 1 wound.
It is true. He does only need to deal 1 wound to this unit. So a movement speed of 5, so this is likely an automatic in here. So we'll see if it's disordered for the rerolls. And it is not, so he will be getting to reroll his 2 attacks. And these will be at a -1 defensive save because of the flank charge.
Let's not forget, Griff does have 2 cards still in his hand.
This is true. We're seeing 2 attacks hitting on 4s with the ability to reroll thanks to a successful charge. Once again, thank God for those rerolls here on Jorah for 2 hits.
Like holding my breath here to see if the shields comes down.
I know, I'm very... It looks like no shields that guard the realms of men are being played.
Oh!
That is a critical failure on those saves. And we are seeing, and now his Watch's End coming out once again. And we'll see what will be unactivated.
We started with 4 units of cavalry, 4 units of trackers. We're down to 1. The dragon is still standing.
The dragon is still standing, and I think that is actually going to put our J just ahead here when it comes down to who is going to be hitting harder coming up.
Taking a quick stock of what's left on the board, we've got ORJ, he's got Drogon, Exploradora, aka Jorah, and he's got his unit of Unsullied Swordmasters, which are back up to 2 ranks.
Yeah.
Griff has been playing quite aggressively, still has his conscripts, but the only other thing backing him up is a unit of trackers.
Yes, and these are not the trackers with the attached Watch Marshal. So it looks like we are seeing... Oh no, that was... And now his Watch's End being discarded now, sorry. So we're seeing the deck being searched as the effect of the Horn That Wakes the Sleeper's Vow to bring back a tactics card from his discard pile. And with only 4 cards left, I am surprised we have yet to see a shield that guards the realms of men come out here. It will be Griffyn's activation after he finds this card for his now unactivated unit of Ranger Trackers. And it looks like he is bringing back Sword in the Darkness to be played on this unit, both giving them 2 additional attacks, and because it would seem that ORJ has completely forgotten Unyielding for this game, likely to be putting out a vulnerable token. Or does it automatically become attached? Let me discard this vow. Okay, so they're not playing that they become vulnerable, so potentially they have finally remembered the secondary ability.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. And that will take 3 wounds to the Unsullied, bringing them back down to just 2 remaining models. And taking a panic test at I believe a -1 from the Quartz pile. I don't think he's in range of that Weirwood. Either way, that is a pass on a 5. Even with the -1.
Interesting that the weakened token is staying on if the vulnerable did not get applied.
Yes. Looks like we are scoring up the round now. And it is a total of 3 points to 3 points going into ORJ's activation as first player.
It's also going to get to draw 3 fresh cards.
Yes. And we do still see 1 order token left on Varys on the side of Griffyn. So taking that attack zone as the first activation might be risky for ORJ.
Looks like some both players are going deep into the tank for this.
It looks like ORJ decided not to... Sorry, not ORJ. Griffyn decided not to discard any cards. He still has 3 cards left in his deck and 3 cards in his hand now. And ORJ will be activating his dragon, Drogon, to start things off. I agree, Sunday Slaughter. Well, actually, Sunday Slaughter, it is turned off. Oh, it is will you control this objective? I read it as claim. Yes, if he can charge these conscripts, even if he does not do a single wound to them, he will be able to use Tycho's ability to heal his Unsullied to back up. So we see the charge going off. And is an automatic in. I think we were just reading Jorah's order to see. Yes, we were popping the order to make this Ranger Tracker unit here both vulnerable and weakened. And oddly enough, we are charging into the Ranger Trackers and not the conscripts. He must want to clear them off to free up his Unsullied completely and totally.
Line, because if this doesn't work, you know, that attack is still going to be open.
It is. And with 7 wounds remaining, he's going to need... Ooh, not that. That only deals 4 wounds to the unit.
Now, even a moderate failure here will still clear off the unit, and a panic token is there.
That it is. But we don't know if he has fire that burns against the coal back in his hand. So that will be a 6-9. That is a failure. Oh no, sorry, it is a pass because of the weirwood tree. And we once again see fire that burns against the coal coming down to stop that panic token being applied.
I think that is copy 4 that we've seen in this game.
I believe it is. Yes, Nav. It does seem to be Dragon against the world at this point.
Right, that's how we like our Dragon games to go.
Now, we have yet to see the second copy of Targaryen Supremacy come out. Oh, and here we have Promise of Fire. This will force a panic test, and one unit becomes panicked. So we are likely to see if to block out on the swords. And I don't know what the second zone he would take is. Potentially the money bags to stop the unit from healing back up as well.
That was my thought as well, Gordy. You know, block out the aggressive, block out the wealth, leave your options open.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Sunday Flutter, I'm also surprised that he took the risk. It was... I don't know if he's just feeling the pressure at this point, only having 3 units left alive, one of them being Explora, and the other being a unit with only 2 wounds left. And potentially, Daniel, he did not realize that his dragon with... Is it 8 wounds they have? Yes, with 8 wounds counts as having 8 ranks for the purpose of contesting and holding objectives. And I'm sorry, Nav, that I pronounced your name wrong.
Yeah, come on, Gordy. Get on that.
I know. Okay. We see a panic test coming down here. Reclaiming the crown. And that is a pass. I'm waiting to see a Targaryen Supremacy come out, and one is not being played. But that is both Promise of Fires down. Now, I did not notice, did you, Alex? The Ranger Trackers take a panic test. No, that is their panic test from before. So, we have... Oh my. Searching more cards here. These Night's Watch, they really have control over that tactics deck.
Yeah, I'm certainly getting some flashbacks from some of my games against Night's Watch players. It just feels like you're counting the cards. It doesn't ever seem to matter if they keep coming back.
Yeah, I thought Tyrion was bad with what is it? Strategist. I'm blanking on the name of it. Something strategist. Genius strategist?
Well, you're my local Lannister expert, so I will defer to you.
Yes, I'm blanking on the name, but the one that adaptive strategy, adaptive tactics. Oh, I'm rambling now.
Hey, it's been quite an intense game. That's okay. We're feeling it too.
Yes. Precision enhancement may be nice, but they won't survive his next turn. Yes, I agree on that one. So it looks like we have the Unsullied attacking now. They spent the weakened token, and we finally see a Shield of the Realms of Men coming out to block D3 hits. And we will blocking 2, one of which will obviously be the hit from Precision.
Gordy, do they actually get to pick the precision in this case?
I believe they do. That is always the way I played it. It just says hits of 6 do not allow defensive saves, but they still do count as hits. It will not matter in this case because that is the unit dead from 3 failed defensive saves. And we see a Watcher on the wall coming out here to likely maneuver these conscripts. We see them turning to face.
Now at this point, do you just go Hail Mary charge?
I think you might have to. Those Unsullied will really mess up your day as a Night's Watch player with the conscripts there. So you see the Surge Forth coming out now. It looks like we may see ORJ trying to get into the flank of this unit. Now, I don't think with an 8+ morale and a 5+ defensive save, it might not be overly necessary. But it does give him that extra bonus of the -1 to the panic test if he can get in there. And we're actually seeing a retreat. Likely to try to keep these Unsullied safe for yet another turn. And the pivot from the dragon coming, so Drogon will just be facing and not have to worry about a flank charge from these conscripts. See now?
Yeah,
I'm gonna say we see Othel activating now. He's grabbing those swords so as not to eat a free ranged attack from Drogon, and he will be taking the ability to bring back one of his own cards. It's hard to say which he will need here.
You watched in the chat there, Gordy, but it looks like we got another Lannister player coming out.
That's just the best. And yes, Sunday Slaughter, I would have to agree. Jaime is most definitely S tier. He is the godliest of godly Lannister commanders. And it's just unfair for others if you decide to play him. So we see our last Ferris token, I believe, coming down to block the zone on Tycho. Now I'm surprised he did not save this last token for Illyrio, because now this dragon has the potential to doubly activate. So he's going to be blocking the maneuver, likely just to keep the zone controlled for his own tactics cards. And we see the conscripts here coming off with a charge straight into the front of this dragon.
So let's take a look at that. Those conscripts. I don't see them. I don't see them actually make contact that often.
No. Now they will be hitting with 7 dice, hitting on 4s. But we will be seeing Sword in the Darkness come out here to make that 9 dice hitting on 4s. I'm surprised we did not see an awful card for Critical Blow or Sundering here. But he...
Not a great start, but we get a reroll.
Yep. Total of 6 hits on a 4-up defensive save, but Drogon is vulnerable. This won't be able to kill him, but could do some damage. So we see 4 pass currently, and we're seeing the vulnerable spent, dealing 4 wounds in total to this dragon.
So what are you thinking the next best action is? Do you grab the wealth and try to protect the dragon, or do you just simply go with Illyrio and swing in?
At this point, the center objective is no longer held, so Tycho is free to heal again.
Oh, not require a claim? Is it just once per game? Start of any turn? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so he could spend Tycho right now to either heal up his Unsullied or fill the dragon back up to full health. And then we are seeing Illyrio come out now, likely to claim a zone.
Nav, let's not manifest that. Let's not put that out in the world. Conscripts killing a dragon. That would be the saddest end to this game, I think.
So it looks like we're seeing Illyrio come out to claim the tactics zone. Likely to stop any more cards being drawn. And Varys blocking the coins. Not overly useful right now for Griffyn. We'll have Jorah activating, it looks like, to get in a very, very guaranteed flank charge onto these conscripts. Now he does technically need to stay an inch away, but with how much movement he has, it's very unlikely that it will have mattered that he moved that close. Now, also,
no, it's simply a formality at that point.
Yes. At this point, he does still need to roll the charge just to make sure that he is not disordered. Not that it will overly matter, as the dragon is currently unactivated. Now we see, oddly enough, ORJ taking a point there for killing those conscripts. They do have the insignificant rule, so they would not have been giving up a point for victory through combat, but I'm thinking this is a game, and let's go join these two in the Discord chat.
That's good, Gordy. See you in there.
Honestly, as scary as dragons are, the heroes of this game are these Unsullied.
Hey there, guys. How's it going?
It's going all right. How you doing, man?
Good. That was a nail biter right to the end.
Yeah.
Griffyn, you really put down some damage there early on, but ORJ, you were able to hold through and weather that storm.
It's called playing neutrals most of the time, because this is generally what happens to you. You just weather it as long as you can get through those first couple rounds, and you just don't get shook, and you can always climb back out of the hole. Because a lot of times you see guys play and they take that big hit early and they just shit their pants, and that's it for them.
Well, Thank you so much. I really appreciate the game.
Yeah, man, Griffin, dude, you're good. You had me on the ropes, dude. I was reeling for a couple rounds there, trying to recover.
Now,
Okay, why don't we input this into the stats, and then I gotta call it a night. I got classes tomorrow morning.
Hey, good luck with that, dude.
all right. Well, thank you very much, Griffin, for joining us for the stream. I believe everyone in the chat will agree it was an absolute pleasure to watch. It was a nail biter right to the end. And thank you guys so much.
Yeah, man. Thanks, bud. I'll be talking to you.
Okay. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
All right, and with that, I believe we're going to close the stream out. Thank you, everyone, for coming to watch. And we hope to be bringing you at least one stream from this event every week until it's over, and then hopefully more from other events into the future.
All right, Gordy, as always, it's been a pleasure. And to everybody out there, we'll see you next time.